Hey, how's it going out there now? Welcome to the show. Got a great one lined up for you today. Just going to be a relaxing one, though. Let our hair down, as they say. As usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. The beautiful Betty Van Velsen is in Discord and had a very interesting conversation going on with the guests before we started. Wonder if she'd like to continue that discussion now.
Would I? Well, I was just asking Adam if God had any humor.
And Adam's response?
Well, we've dragged it out the gutter since you started the show.
Okay.
So we asked the question then. If I go to heaven and I stick my finger out and go pull that, would God pull it? Bearing in mind he's omnipotent, so he knows what's going to happen.
Right.
Would he still pull it? I say yes, and still chuckle.
I think that the effect will not happen.
That's where
Well,
we're
he
at.
might play a trick back and make it go the other way on you, just to dumbfound you.
Exactly. He would totally run it on us, I think.
What if his response is, what are cranberries?
Well, then we need to find the cipher of his cryptic message.
And that's
I
flat.
just tell him not to
and
try
that's
any of his woke comedy.
and that's flat out there in chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, archery contest. I figured that was going to come up. We'll get to that. Well, I hear a snicker in the background.
I think didn't Murphy go along with you?
Murphy was with me the whole week leading up to and through. And the next day. But we'll get into that. Yep, he was following me. Like a monkey on my back. But we've all had those times. But it's not that. It's not that. It's very interesting, and we'll get into that here in a couple minutes. I'll try to keep it concise. My brother just texted me. 1 year ago, we arrived in Montana. Today.
Ah, okay. That's strange, huh?
Yeah, then his next question was to the group, where are we going next year? Of course, this is next year, but I understood what he was saying. And somebody said Alaska, so.
Alaska?
Yeah.
Hunting for bears, maybe?
I have no idea.
What did she say?
She confirmed her husband wants to go too, so I don't know where this one's going to go.
So wait a minute, one of your brothers said, well, let's go to Alaska?
No, he said Alaska.
Yeah, one of my brothers said, where are we going next year? And the other brother said, how about Alaska? And the sister said, her husband suggested that they go to Alaska next year. So, like I said, that's it.
So he didn't say I'll ask her, his sister. He said I'll go to Alaska, not Alaska.
Yeah, not I'll ask her, but Alaska, Adam.
So people have been having trouble with my accent today.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Not very clear.
Yeah. Can you rephrase that, Adam? I'm not understanding. What did you say?
Exactly. Alaska.
You'll ask her then. Oh, we got a whole bunch of people come in. These viewer numbers.
You eating now? I hear you eating.
I'm sorry, that is quite rude. Usually, I refrain from gustation. I find it coarse and vulgar. Please excuse me.
Well, the thing is, we just started the show and you're already eating something. Couldn't you do that just beforehand?
sorry. It was sitting over there, and it's so delicious.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, my wife got, it's like a roulette wheel with melons, and she bought a honeydew, and it is absolutely glorious. And it's sitting over there to the left, and I keep looking over, and there's a fork there, and it's hard not to grab the fork.
As a kid, could you sort of like extend the time for self gratification or something?
It's not self-gratification. It's just delicious.
Yeah, in the sense of that there was some candy there and you would eat it immediately.
I don't eat candy.
Back in the day, that you liked.
I hardly even ate candy when I was a kid.
Something that you liked. You must have liked something back in the day.
Pizza.
So if somebody would put a plate of pizza in front of you, right, and said, "Wait a minute, because I need to do something," and then before he turns back, it's already gone.
Yeah, that would probably be the case.
Yikes.
Yeah, would probably be it.
Back in the day, they had these series on television here. I think they had it in the United States as well, and maybe in the UK as well. It was sort of like international, where you had these kids, and they did these sort of like games with these kids, and they set them behind the desk and put a really big pile of something that they would like on the table, and they would say, "Oh, yeah, you can take 3, but after I'm coming back," and then they would see what the kids would do. And most of the kids would just like be, well, piling a little and staring at it, like not letting go of it, like sort of a dog does, and eventually most of the kids ate. Sort of reminds me of that story of Adam and Eve, not sort of hold back, right?
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, you're still that little kid.
Thank you. See, the backhanded slights coming in already. I didn't even provoke it.
Right on attack. I mean, come on. You fell into my ambush.
Yeah, you fell into the ambush, right? Regardless, I'd fall into it, no matter what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, this is just going to be relaxing. Let your hair down. It's been a little intense the past couple of days, so let's just.
Do you have such a hair knot, like a male knot in the hair?
Yeah, it's more of a metaphor. I don't have that much hair. I fortunately, well, it's not that I'm never going to go bald. I just cut it really short now. It's amazing. When I was a teenager, I couldn't get it long enough. Now I can't get it short enough. It's amazing how that goes.
And then you say that you want to let it hang down. Fine.
Like I said, that was a metaphor for everyone, not just me.
Ah. All right.
All right, so we might as well get this out of the way, right?
Oh yeah. What?
What? The archery.
Oh. All right.
What were you thinking?
Should I start this?
No. We can get the archery thing because everyone knows that I went to the archery competition. Well, last week everything that can go wrong did go wrong, and I was trying to prepare. I got a new string and tried to prepare, get everything set. Late Friday night, just as the sun went down, I was able to get a good. I wouldn't say a good sight tape. I had 20 minutes left, and I got a 20 and a 50, and marked those, and then I have sight tapes where you can extrapolate from. Well, just a little backstory on sight tapes. It usually takes about 4 days. Now, not all day, but 4 iterations of shooting different distances to make sure that your sight tape is on. I did it in 20 minutes. So I said, that's not a problem. I'm going anyway, right? So got up Saturday morning. I did get up at 4:30. I wanted to slam that alarm clock. That was a rough one. I'd have to admit to you, it was pretty bad. So we got to the competition. It was sponsored by the Baptist Church. They've been sponsoring this event for 15 years. So we drove down there. We drove to the high school. The event, you had to get shuttled to the event. I was surprised how many people were there. At least 500 archers. I'm serious. We got down there at 7:15 in the morning. Oh, brother, it was packed, right? But it was great. They had tents. They had food. If you know anything about Baptist people cooking, yeah, I don't have to say anything more. They could just plain cook their tails off. So there were tents everywhere with just free food. $10, right? And drinks. It was a little warm, so they had drink stations set up everywhere, and there's trails going through the woods. There were 3 trails. There was A course, B course, and C course. There was 8 or 9 of us in the group. So we started off, registered and everything. We started off, a couple people. I shot a couple arrows at they just had a little bag there 20 yards away just to shoot, right? Nothing too formal. And so we seen everyone headed to the A course. Each course had about, I don't know if I said this already, about 15 targets. They're just off in the woods. They're 3D targets, antelope, bear, they had a couple panthers, elk, you name it, they had it, right? Turkeys. So like I said, we seen everyone go to the A course, and we said, heck, let's try to B. But it didn't matter anyway because all of them were crowded. But that's okay. That's just the way it goes. And so we get to the first target. I think it was an antelope. It was like 35 yards away, and there was right in the where you score, like in the kill zone of the deer. There's they don't have an ASA. It's another standard. They have inner circle, one inner circle, an outer circle beyond that, and the rest. And you score them appropriately. We don't need to get into the scoring, but it's right in the kill zone for whatever animal it is. But when we got there, it was daylight, but it was dark because we were in the middle of the woods, right? And these targets weren't the brightest things you ever seen, so they were pretty dark. And I said, in the first target, right, I was like, oh, brother, I can hardly see this thing. But from the position where you had to shoot to the kill zone, right, they do this purposely. There were 2 saplings in the way. So what you got to do is you either got to, be conservative and just hit outside the kill zone and just move on to the next target, or you can, try to get the kill zone. But if you're going to do that, then there's a chance you could hit the 2 small saplings. So I'm going through my mind. I binoed it and everything, and I seen, the issue, and I didn't make the decision until I drew back and got onto the target. So what I did? I went for it. Right? I said, I didn't come here, to be conservative. And I'm not conservative anyway, so I got a bit aggressive, and I knew the chances that I took. So when I shot, the back of my arrow hit one of those saplings. Now, I still made it to the kill zone. It was a good shot. I think I hit the 10 ring on that one. And so it was fine, but I hit the tree, kicked my arrow out a little bit because it hit the tail. So this is going to lead up to the important part of the story. I always check my arrows. Ever since I started archery, it's been drilled into me to check my arrows, and I always check my arrows. Like, I bend them, make sure they're okay, because you got to be really careful. Because if you got a compromised arrow and you put it in a compound bow, there's so much potential energy in that bow. It just blow your mind, right? Just keep that in mind. And there's a lot of people get injured and hurt over this little issue. So you guys already know where this is going, right? Now, I even said out loud, I hit that sapling. I said it out loud. I knew I hit it. I seen it hit off it. I heard it, right? And everyone said, yep, you clipped the tree, but you got the target, right? So everyone shot. There were 8 or 9 of us. We went down. Hands are full. A couple people shot over the target. They're looking for their arrows. Bunch of commotion going on. Another guy was pulling the arrows out of the target. He handed me mine. Guess what I didn't do? Check the arrow. I put it back in my quiver without checking the arrow. I can't explain it to you. Right? Go to the second target, no issues. Go to the third target, no issues. A good friend of mine was missing some target. He had some trouble with his sight at first. We're headed to the fourth target, and they have a tent set up right before the fourth target, right before you get there, about 20 yards before. And there's this lady and gentleman there, and they were, hello and all that, and how's everyone doing? And they even had food there, but we already ate. And I said, because they had a tent there, I said, you got a crying tent. And everyone started laughing because a couple people had missed the previous targets. And obviously you guys get the picture. So get to the fourth target. I draw back. Before I drew back, I knocked the arrow. There was no visual. You already know where this is going, guys, right? There was no visual part of the arrow. Because I looked at the arrow, I knocked it. It didn't do anything. It acted normal, right? There was no problem as far as I knew. However, the problem was that underneath the fletchings, or where the feathers go, underneath my wrap, the arrow was cracked. So guess what happened? When I pulled the 65 pounds back and released that arrow, guess what happened? You guessed it. It blew up. My bow blew up. Lucky I wasn't hurt. No one was hurt. A piece of it smacked into my top of my hand. I was in shock. Everyone was in shock. I mean, it was surreal. I heard a piece of it fly back in the wood line, right? A buddy, the guy that was behind me, he said he heard something whiz past his ear. Luckily, nothing hit him. I was just shocked. I was in shock for the next couple targets. I really didn't know what to say. They were surprised at my reaction. They thought I'd flip out or something. No, I was in shock. And it's quite humbling, right? For that to happen. After all I did, after all that preparation to get there, and then that to happen. Right? So what am I going to do? You just accept it and move on. But they said, are you going to go? I said, no, I'm staying. They said, you going to follow us? I said, yeah, I'm part of the group. I'm going around with you guys. Another guy in our group, a good friend of mine, a couple of acquaintances there with us, had the same draw length as me. So he said, in fact, one of the guys with me that owns the bow shop called back to his father. His father was going to drive up another bow for me to shoot. And we're all the close 3 group friends. The other guy said, no, he can shoot my bow the rest of the time. That's what people that we're dealing with here. I mean, these are great people. He said, nah, they could just shoot mine, no problem. Right? So I started shooting his bow the rest of the course. Now, his bow is completely different than mine. His sight's completely different. Everything's different. I'm not used to shooting it. It has no lens, no scope, no nothing. It works on angular size change. That's a story for another time. So I start shooting, and I start hitting 12 rings with his bow. Now, there's a couple targets that I screwed up on the sight and launched it right over the back of the targets, but you'll have that, right? I had no problem with it. I just used the wrong mark. I'm just not used to his sight. But anyway, it was such a great day. Even though the worst thing, it's like if you ever seen the ABC Wide World of Sports, where they say, at the beginning, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Yeah, it turned out it was the agony of defeat first and then the thrill of victory later, and we're going to get to that. But that was the day, and you'd figure it would be a bad day. Let me tell you something. If I knew what had happened and had to do it again tomorrow, I'd do it in a heartbeat. It was one of the most amazing days of my life. Shockingly. because they thought I was going to hammer throw that bow, but I didn't. But anyway, as we're going through the courses, and it was great, man. Like 6 of them were acquaintances of mine and 3 friends that I knew. By the end of the day, we were all great friends. That's how it goes with these things. But anyway, as we're walking through, we hear a lot of stories, right, of, the other courses. And everyone's talking about the gator on course A. It's 50 yards, and it's really small. The target is small on the gator. The gator is small to begin with. He's long, but he's not thick. And it's in the middle of a rock field, and everyone's telling stories about busting up arrows because they're missing it, right? So we're firing at all the targets, and finally, towards the end of the day, now it's getting smoking hot. We're headed down towards the gator, right? And I'm shooting okay, nothing to write home about. Like I said, I put a couple 12s, which was amazing, but, I had some poor shots. So we get something to eat. They have a tent down there, right? Nachos and jalapenos and cold soda. It was wonderful, right? Get something to eat. The next target's the gator. Well, this gator target, they have another tent set up because this is one of the prize shots. If you make this shot, if you get the 12 ring or hit the bullseye, then the evaluator comes down, takes a look, makes sure because he evaluates all shots. He walks down after everyone shoots and checks just to make they're not going to lie anyway, but they still have to check. And they had a bow stand, like a tree stand for deer hunting. I'm not a tree or bow stand guy. I don't hunt, right? But that wasn't the point. So everyone starts shooting, and it turns out I'm last, right? It's just the way it went. So I draw back. I center punched the 12 ring. All these guys, everyone in my group was like, I turned around, they're in awe. It's everything that happened to me, right? And I'm shooting another guy's bow. It's got terrible sights, and I just center punch it. That's what I'm telling you. It was the agony of defeat and the thrill of victory packed all in a great day. Right? So let me wind it up there. How long did I take with that? 10 minutes? Sorry about that if I went too long.
Did you want a quantitative or qualitative answer there?
No, I don't want. That doesn't need to be answered. There's no evaluation of it. Right? But go ahead if you got something to add.
I was just wondering. That's one hell of a day. It was like a good campfire tale. That I enjoyed that, Q. What was that then? Just the zone at the end, or perseverance being kind of rewarded?
I don't know. I just went back on the fundamentals, even though it wasn't my bow and stuff, and that might turn out to be my bow, by the way, just to let you know that. Now, I'm getting my other one fixed, but this one, there's just something about it, right? Maybe it was that shot, maybe it was all the shots with it, but it just clicked, right? I can't explain it. I was beside myself. I can't explain it.
I did have one question.
Go ahead.
From the story. A sight based on angular size change.
Yep.
That intrigued me. That was
it's not based on, I'm sorry, did I say angular size change? It's based on angular distance. So it takes the size of an adult deer and the kill zone of an adult deer, and that's what the sight's based on. It's like a V with flared out, a V at the bottom, comes up and flares out. And it's got 20, 30, 40, and 50. Now you have to zero that to you. You're 20, 30. Once you zero the 20, then it's good for you. Then all of them will line up. So it uses angular size to judge distance, essentially. You got it? Good?
Yeah, it sounds a bit like my golf.
You know what? Why am I doing this when I can just pull the darn thing up and show everyone, right? Hold on a second.
So the bit you've kind of like sounds like you just dumped your girlfriend. I just heard there.
Sounds like I did.
that he did. He did. He has now a new love. He's like changing up. Next. It's like Tinder, right? You see some mother bow and then next.
It's Tinder for both.
Yeah, and he ravishes the other ones. You know, it's like that.
Hold on.
Swipe left, swipe right.
Let's go and get the site. This
He
might
doesn't
be.
even laugh about that. It's true.
Oh, what the heck? Okay,
Someone
hold on.
says having a bow explode would have made me quiver. Quiver.
Of course, it gives me. You guys get the idea, right? It won't give me a large one.
At all?
What, Betty?
Can you hear me at all?
I hear you now.
Should I best shut up?
No,
Maybe.
you don't have to shut up.
Because I said something and there was no response.
Okay, what did you say? Sorry, Betty, I was doing something else.
Okay, so someone said having a bow explode would have me quiver.
Oh, I was quivering a little bit. So there's the easy.
Is that why? Has she shattered Has she shattered her trust in you? Sexy bow beast. Is that why she's got to be replaced? There's no
Sexy
trust
bow
in the
beast.
relationship anymore.
We can rebuild her. We can build her bigger, stronger, and faster. She's going to be the sexy bionic bow beast.
Plastic, fantastic plastic.
So here's the EasyV site. Right here. See this? That's what it was. So 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. What I didn't like, sometimes it was hard to see the black lines because it was some places were dark. It's just hard to see them. And I didn't like counting when I was aiming. That wasn't that good for me. So on some targets, I'd think 20, 40, 60, right? And it's 20, 30, 40. Some targets, they said, I ranged them, 30 yards away, and I'd use this one, the 40.
So there's different scales for different things, different distances.
For different distances, but I wasn't really paying attention to that. I was paying attention to the yardage when I should have been paying attention to that. That's a very good point. And trying to look, well, because not all the targets were deer targets. And some targets were smaller and bigger than others. So I just dismissed that part of it, and I just went by ranges. So I'd be up there, I'd come to full draw, and I'd be counting instead. While I was aiming, I didn't like that. I don't like counting. I like to relax. There's a certain, sequence I have, and counting's not in one of those. How about that? Let me show you what they have.
I want to see the table. Will you send me the tables? But just as a flippant point, I assume the tables didn't have curvature. Because obviously there's more curvature to account for at a further distance.
See what I mean? That, of course, they don't show a good picture of it. They have to cut these things off. That's lovely.
Can I super chat?
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
Finally. Okay, we got one from Tony Whitcomb. He says, I called the launch of Artemis and stated they would make a leak claim to postpone, I think that's the thing. The launch for an hour before they were due. I was right. There was a launch supposed to go to the moon, I think, something like that. And it didn't go through.
Oh, I seen some literature on that. Or heard the announcement. I can't remember what it was.
You read literature?
I seen some text on that.
Okay, that's better.
What is going on with this Yahoo picture stuff? It's preposterous. Let me try this one. What are you going to show me? Flowers? Oh, for goodness sakes. All right. You guys get the idea. I'm done with this. Yeah, you guys get the idea of that? Yeah. So they called this. Go ahead. Any other comments on the day?
Well, so what, did you win a prize then, or what? What happened?
Oh,
did you get a ribbon? What?
Well, by the time we got there, there was about 20 people all day that hit the 12 ring. So what they do is, what he did, I went up to the tent. They put my name. Well, he gave me a choice. He had a box full of gifts. You can either take one of these prizes right here, or you can put your name in a raffle for the tree stand. Now, by the time we got there, it was towards the end of the day. There weren't too many gifts left, and the ones they had were all knives, and I've got plenty of knives. I don't need another one. So I said, you know what? If I do win, I can give the tree stand to one of these guys. So that's what I did. And it was somebody else that they pulled the name of. After church. So we all went to church.
You gambled and lost.
So all went to church for an hour out in the woods, the whole group. And after that, they pulled the names, and no, I didn't win. I didn't really care. Like I said, I would have just gave it away anyway.
If you would have a knife, couldn't you have sold that knife?
No, I wouldn't have done that.
Was there a name?
When your bow exploded, were you just trying to set the weight of it, the pullback weight, and you just went too far, or what?
No, the arrow was compromised.
The
arrow exploded?
The arrow was compromised. So you got all that power. There's got to be, it's called a partial dry fire. Usually people just draw the bow back without putting an arrow in it. And if you do that, most of the times the limbs will actually explode because there's so much energy packed into it. Especially, I'm at 65 pounds. It's not the highest that you can go, obviously, but it's pretty darn powerful. Let me tell you.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with 65 pound pullback. That's basically what I'm sitting at.
Yeah. Well, the arrow, it's like pushing on a feather. At least it didn't explode my limbs. It destroyed my cams. And the string flew off, and a couple other things was flying that I didn't annotate or mark down. I don't know what they were. Probably stuff off my string. Probably the speed knocks that were on my string flew off. It was pretty bad. The arrow flew about 20 feet. Everyone in the group was shocked. They were just as shocked as I was. It knocked us off the pedestal. Like I said, it was a very humbling experience for me. And
good way to lose a set of teeth, man.
Yeah, or worse. Yeah, it could have been pretty bad, but the Lord was looking out for me, I suppose. Thanks, big guy. Because it could have been really, and thankfully no one else got hurt. Because people in the vicinity are at risk too. So, like I said, it was just an amazing day. And I thought about it. And if I knew it was going to happen the way it happened, and it was going to be tomorrow, I'd do it again. Which sounds crazy, right? But I would. Just an amazing day. Something that I'll never forget. Like I said, a lot of acquaintances became great friends that day. I loved the whole experience. Everything. I wouldn't take anything away from it. To say that, shockingly. I really wouldn't.
Oh, and is this why we didn't have Ballbusters?
That's correct.
Saturday. Oh, well, that seems a fair trade-off, mate. Sounds like you had a good day, pal.
It was a great day. Now, my buddy at the bow shop, that's where I'm going after this. We're not going to spend too much time here today. He messaged me earlier.
Huey, the reason why.
Go ahead.
The reason why I joined today is I was actually I wanted to ask why is the come down on flat earthers for having philosophies of the ether when atomism is itself a philosophy?
Ether. I'm not getting into the ether arguments. We got about 20 minutes. So maybe next.
It just seems to be a lot of ridicule towards the flat earther for alternate thoughts on space time and alternate mediums for particles and magnetism, all that stuff to wonderfully work in. You have to have a philosophy, right? So it's like you guys are coming down on flat earthers for having philosophies, but
Mhm.
Atomism is a philosophy, for fuck's sake. So
Everything's
what's the deal?
well. What's your game here? You trying to piss me off right now? Define philosophy.
The interpretation of the natural world around us.
The interpretation?
Sure, the understanding, right?
Don't ask me. I'm asking you. Go ahead and look it up. What is philosophy? I don't have a problem with you looking it up. Most people don't
The
know what it
understanding
is.
of the
right off
natural
cuff.
world around us, right?
Go ahead, say it.
The attempt to understand the natural world around us.
Yeah. So
I think-
everything, if we're trying to understand the natural world around us, saying it's philosophy is like, oh, okay, and?
The contention here is that you claim to be, there's these pseudoscientists, flat earthers that you guys are attacking right on your show, or Nathan Oakes
No.
or whatever. At the end of the day, the ball, the atomism, the whole thing is all philosophy. So
And
we're
my
coming
next
down to philosophies here, right?
and my next state and
atomism is a fucking bullshit philosophy.
it's
I
bullshit.
think this is
just
this
like
is-
ether is.
Yeah, I'd agree that neither are fundamentally provable. I think there's a lot of other concepts, etc., that support one model, and nobody here is claiming with regards to what is an electron, how do they move, etc., that level of fundamentals. But are we talking physics of the physical and natural world and how we can use science to prove things? Or are we talking about just the... It's starting to sound like a spiritual argument to me, which I've got no problem with.
Well, isn't that what it
we're
is,
trying to
Adam? At the
say
end of the
is-
day, you have all these Christian scientists back in the day come up with all Maxwell's equations. These got all everything
Maxwell's
that the model
debunked.
stands on comes from Christianity, right? All these Christian scientists developed this globe model, right, or this globe philosophy, if you will. That's just where we're at, right? Now we're trying to debunk all these Christian scholars and mathematicians. Even Bernard Riemann was a fucking Christian mathematician who helped Einstein's general relativity.
Okay.
So you're
And
taking all these
that's-
Christian, you are taking all these Christians who, yes, fundamentally believe in God, and they're trying to use mathematics to quantify their philosophy of the natural
I
world, right?
wasn't... No, not at all. So let me continue.
What do you mean not at all? That's
Well, let him
do you want me to
talk.
Read off the list? Do you want me to read off the list?
Not at all, as in that wasn't the point I was making when you interrupted me. Please unmute him, QA. It's fine.
I'm tired of him interrupting.
I've no problem. Because
Alright.
he's gone off on a tangent of the point he'd like to make, and
Okay.
that's not the point I was making. Are you there, Arbiter? Yeah. That wasn't what I was trying to say. I've got no problem. You raise. I think Betty, QE, Paula wouldn't classify me as a Christian. Okay, so we can all have different spiritual viewpoints, and I think that's what's being exhibited here. I don't see the validity in trying to undermine certain scientific proofs as if attacking atomism undermines the science of what's being stated, quoted. It doesn't. Certain little nuances.
It's not attacking atomism.
Please,
It's attacking materialism that is rooted in atomism.
Lovely.
Giving matter, giving unseen material presence.
Okay.
At
What
the
is
smallest
physics?
scale.
What is physics?
Physics is the quantification of the natural world, where we see like the movement, motions, energy, all that stuff.
We can make it more succinct than that from the derivation of the word. It's the study of the physical, isn't it?
Well, that's the deriving
Yeah.
word.
And that's the domain of science.
So here,
I've
the
got no
main body of
problem.
science that we're refuting. which is
I've
all
got
rooted in
no-
atomism and the ball, all come from Roman Catholic evangelist frickin' Christians.
We're
dude.
not-
Do you want to
Who
read
cares? That's a
discussing
genetic fallacy.
atomism
Would
here.
you let
We're
Adam
discussing-
finish?
We're not
the whole
discussing.
fucking ball model? is
I'm
I'm
made by
going to tell you what.
Christians, guys.
No,
Yeah.
QE, it's fine. It's fine. We'll stick to this point because this
You
is
make
important.
your
Please-
point, Adam, and when you stop, I will unmute his dumbass.
We're discussing the physical world now. One conceptualization that could be atomism. Okay, fine, I accept that. Another could be the manifestation from counter space, through the ether of the physical things. We don't need to go to that level of lack of understanding in both models to realize we're discussing physics. And the best way methodology for doing that is science. And I don't see in all of this attack of as if attacking atomism is fundamentally undermines any of the science that's been stated. This is my confusion. It's a valid point, and it's a point I would happily concede. When you get to the higher echelons of understanding, the highest understanding is really we know nothing. Yeah, and that's absolutely fine. But I think many years ago, as QE first came out with, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And certainly don't undermine stuff. It doesn't require the concept of atomism, to demonstrate that water boils at 100 degrees.
You done, Adam?
Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead.
Well, that's not a philosophy on how water boils, right? It's the unseen, the quantification and the qualification of the unseen that we've designed for society and people in schools to take it on as material reality. That is the problem. It is not material reality.
Oh, really? Okay. Let me ask you a question. What are you made up of?
I'm made up of what man wants to describe his own qualification.
Oh, here we go with the games.
For his
Right?
own
You've
mathematical
got substance.
descriptions.
Okay, shut the fuck. I'm tired of your dumbass. Just shut the fuck up. Goodness gracious. It's like talking with my sister's kids. Let me try it again. I'm going to give you another chance. You charged us with being materialist. Oh my God. I can't believe I'm even saying this. What are you made of?
I'm talking about quantifying the.
What are you made of?
I'm made of a construct that man devised.
Oh, shut the. You're finished. You're an idiot. See, immaterialist here, guy. See, you're made of material. I know this is shocking. What you slept on last night, your bed, that's material or substance, right? Don't even have to go to atoms yet because that's well above your pay grade. Then you put your socks and clothes on. That's material. Then you walked into your kitchen, right, and had breakfast. You sat down on a chair, table. Those are material things. The toaster, it's material, right? It's not immaterial. Do you get me, sunshine? So you're a materialist.
And it's tangible. We're talking about stuff that we can see. I'm talking about
Not
the
just what we can
unseen.
see.
You're trying to quantify
immaterialist.
the unseen as material. Do you get it? I'm not.
Oh, brother, I'm done with him. I'm not playing it. Sorry. You're an immaterial materialist, right? I'm not going to talk at you anymore because this is preposterous. So, there's not, you put out a false dichotomy, right? What you're actually saying, you got your atomist, which is a tear-jerking belly laugher. You're putting materialist versus immaterial. That's a false dichotomy because they're not mutually exclusive. Everyone that's alive right now is a materialist. They deal with material every day. That's what they're made of. We all know this. This isn't second grade, right? Now, am I a strict materialist? No. I live in a material world. I know what material is. Do I know for an absolute fact that immaterial or supernatural exists? Yes. I have hours upon hours discussing this, proving it. So you see, you got a false analogy there, friend. My word. So your whole basis of your argument is a logical fallacy and therefore void.
That's the only place I disagree, because the only place I can see that this is being placed is in the field of religion. And if he wants to believe a particular viewpoint in the non-physical world, the world he can't see, can't experience or measure, that verifies his world viewpoint through output in the physical world, which he denies by the sound of things, because as he said, physical world is a construct of man, which is very confusing.
Which is preposterous.
Yeah. In even in an etheric concept, that's a very strange thing, unless you are making yourself God. But either way, if where you validate things is in a place that's unvalidatable, then that to me falls into the category of faith. And if that's your faith, then God bless, good luck. I've got no argument with that.
And also, this isn't a scientific topic. You brought up science with not you, Adam. Numpty here. Has nothing to do with science at all. No one made the claim it had to do with science, except Globe Dumpster Bob. He said FED doesn't understand the science behind the ether. He's the only one who made that claim. We all know, because we know what science is, that ether is not science. We already know this. It's not a scientific question. What is ether? It's not a scientific question at all. It has nothing to do with it. It's non sequitur. It's a category error. Duh. So your whole spiel that you charged out here with is non sequitur and a false dichotomy fallacy. So making it void. Like, do you have anything else?
So again, it's about quantifying the unseen, not the seen, not the material.
Shut up. I'm not talking about unseen. There's another false analogy fallacy. Not talking about that.
John, it's not that. I'm trying to understand this. But when somebody says to me, I'm trying to quantify the unseen, the unexperienceable, because it's in counter space, something I don't have sensors for, this is where I struggle to progress with it, because my logical thing is, well, if it's the unseen, the unexperienceable, how can I even prove that that is something to investigate?
Oh my God, I got people out in chat.
You get me? It's not a point I can progress from realistically. I'm more than happy to have anything presented. It doesn't have to be scientific, but it's got to have some validity. Some way of backing up what it's claimed to be linked to.
And what do you know? We got people out in chat talking about double slit, you numpty dipshits. Hold on a second. Are you that slow, right? That you get Jedi mind tricked. If somebody brings up something, you go right to that. So what is ether? And then you go the double slit. What the hell is that? Are you insane? If I ask you what a banana is, and then you go off describing boll weevils or debunking boll weevils, do you see that that's sort of non sequitur? Maybe, perhaps. Answer me. My word. This is so stupid. The arguments you ether believers have are they're like second grade incoherent. Every single one of them. So, ether, what is ether? That's what we want to know. Simple question, just tell us what it is. It's been already told to us initially. It's a medium. It's a background medium. No problem. Define medium. Well, a medium is substance and material. Okay? What is the substance or material for ether? They say it's immaterial. That is a contradiction in terms. The argument ends right there. There's no need to do anything more. You can't tap dance your way out of it. You can't say, well, I don't like that definition. It's made by materialist, which is a tear-jerking belly laugher. and then just make up shit for the definition of the word. You can't do that. Right? Duh. And then laugh and revel in it like you're some intellectual superiority complex going on here. Right? The speed of light. We don't know the speed of light, but it has a rate. Really? Define rate. Well, it's speed. An incoherent second grader will belly laugh you out of the room. You are a Dunning-Kruger delusional pretender clown. Sophist. That's it. What else you want me to say? The prosecution rests. Goodness gracious. Why should I even have to say it? Anything else? Oh my goodness gracious.
I would say that that was something else.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. This is basic. Like I said, it may be below second grade. False analogies. They're everywhere. False dichotomies, putting this against that when they're not. What are you doing? Go ahead. Sorry.
I could take a second grade explanation of what ether is. I'm not asking. I say we've been attacking atomism here. It's a very coherent conceptualization of dealing with, for me as a chemist, yeah, dealing with reality. Now, like I said, the nuances of atomistic theory as it sits today, I've never actually, you've heard me speak, I'd never see that as reality.
There is no atomistic. There is no atomistic theory.
I'm being very magnanimous here and generous.
You're trying to be an emissary and you're a diplomat.
Yeah, well,
and
I'm not. I'm trying to address maybe their concerns, their points a little bit.
I thought I just addressed it.
Yeah, well, yeah, but in my way.
Okay.
One of the concerns I've got is why, looking at some of the higher kind of discernment in terms of quantum mechanics and other things, why that is a validation. If we can pick coal in another model, why does that support mine, which is fundamentally and wholly conceptually different? So any criticism in the nuances of another model, it doesn't add any weight or support to my way of viewing. This seems a strange kind of poisoning of the well way of going, well, look, you're a religious fundy as well. What you're believing is just a religion, which I suppose in the most philosophical of schools, if you want to attack me as an atomist, which I think I've made the disclaimer I'm not, and don't think of it like that. And if you,
they're just using that.
Let me just finish. As it said today, you know, I speak to real physicists at the degree level, and I said, once you get to that level, there is a level of understanding that you're not going to know everything. You can't. You're not going to understand the fundamentals. Which is why what we've seen the past 30 years is a descent into mathematics to try and present further understanding. It doesn't prevent further understanding, it just provides greater probability of outcome, which is very different to actually further understanding. And I think, in respect to which, yeah, we do get to that level where actually the truest understanding is that that's about as far as you're going to get. And I've got no problem if you want to label me as some religious person that believes that electrons orbit like this. That's fine. It's not what I've ever claimed. And it's not my worldview. I believe in a creator. And I think there are certain innate things that I'm never destined, whilst on this plane, to understand. And I'm at peace with that. But I have this method of science that's got me here today, and it's undone the lies and the bullshit that I've had to live through. And I'm happy with that. And it's just, the feeling is not just from yourself. I think you kind of distance yourself to say this is a believing, but there are certain others out there that are portraying this as what flat earthers believe. And we did a lot of hard work and undoing of ridicule to get where we are today, where we are convincing people. And it doesn't take a lot of cognition in a normie's mind to be able to bin this reality, yeah, and have a good valid excuse. And if we're presenting worldviews that are unsubstantiated, live in the invisible, aren't measurable, and oppose a lot of solid, good science that you don't have to be optimistic about to validate, then we're losing a lot of work we're doing by other people espousing, maybe you are right, well done, but if you're going to espouse it, then you really do need to be able to validate it, in my opinion. And that's all I've asked for here, is just, I don't need to shout it down, but just bring to the table what you're talking about. And I think realistically, what's being brought to the table right now does not do the cause of flat Earth any good. It gives the shills, the trolls, and I say, more importantly, the people that are seeking the truth, it gives them, their brain, their cognition, a chance to reject a lot of the other good, solid stuff that is there, that does disprove the ball, that does disprove the lies that I thought we were all here to undo. And maybe we have to put our own personal beliefs aside a little bit like the funny Christians that people get upset about. Stop preaching all the time. I don't preach my religious faith to anyone. I don't think it's relevant. And I think keeping on topic, guys, would probably be beneficial to us all. I'm done rambling. Thank you.
So essentially, they're trying to prove phlogiston by debunking transistors. That's exactly what's happening here. I like to boil things down to its grassroots, right? That's what's going on here. Yeah. And if you're Jedi mind tricked about that, then you got bigger problems than whether the Earth is flat or a sphere or not. I'll tell you that much. All right. Anything else? Betty, any shout outs? Super chats?
I don't think so.
Brian, are you?
Oh yeah, wait. Someone came by. Yeah, got one.
Okay.
He said Tony would come, and he says if ether was a cause and effect relationship, it would have been proven millennia ago.
Yeah, now that's science. Like I said, if somebody is claiming a natural cause and effect relationship, well, then that would be science. Defining the existence of a what is not science. No one is claiming that it is. No one is dogging anyone out that they're not using science in a category error. That the claims are incoherent, and I suppose purposeful straw man fallacies for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's just ignorance. That's what it is. Just plain ignorance. What's your take on this, Brian?
Hey, Kiwi. Hey, Patty. Hey, Adam, everybody.
Yep.
There's nothing really to take on. It's a belief. It's a concept. I don't think people realize that the whole atomic model is a descriptive model. Nobody said that it was a science. You know, it's just a sidebar argument, you know,
Yes.
to try and attack us on what they have. What they have is nothing, and they're trying to say we have nothing. But it's not. We never claimed to be atomists. we just live in the physical and natural world, and in that physical 3D natural world, there is no provable, validatable evidence that ether exists. That's it.
Yeah, so it's material versus immaterial. Well, what the problem is, they have a fundamental misunderstanding. I think it's purposeful. You numpties are getting confused between materialism and philosophical naturalism, or better said, strict materialism and philosophical naturalism. You don't know the difference between those. You're using words out of context. You're absolutely clueless. I'm going to tell you that. I've already proved it to you. Every single person walking on this earth has to be a materialist. A strict materialist? No. But a materialist? Yes. Because they are made out of material. They use material every day. You're doing it right now. Duh. That doesn't make you a strict materialist, making his premise a false dichotomy fallacy. Because why? Atomist versus what? What was the other choice? Atomist is materialist versus what?
Ethereal.
Ethereal. So immaterial. So it's materialism versus immaterialism, right? Are those mutually exclusive? Can I live in the material world and know for an absolute fact that the immaterial does exist? Just because the immaterial exists doesn't mean ether exists. That is, let me flip it on its side. Just because everyone's a materialist, or you grab a materialist, do turkey squirrels exist? They're material, then they must exist, right? That's how stupid this is. It is stupid. Childlike. Does everyone get that? Yes? No? Maybe?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
So why do we need an ether? What's the point?
You're going to have to ask them again. Now, that story's going to change depending on what time of day and who you ask. So just be prepared.
Yeah, I asked, I think, well, a little while ago, not that long ago, with Sid, and he sort of made a sort of a, well, I might miss say this, so if Vincent is listening, forgive me. I might not say this right. He said something about that you get an analemma from the sun, right, at different times, and that there must be something moving, either the earth or the skies above. And the fact that that analemma is there, that there is something that makes that move, and that might be that's system or whatever, what you would call it, that would be the ether.
Yeah, might be invisible.
Is this something that you could, maybe already had on your list? I don't know, but I mean, is that? I mean, because I asked him, I said, well, why do we need it, and why? I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with the place we live on, in the sense of flat or round or ball-like, right? So I said, what's the connection? What's the connection with ether and flat Earth? What? Why? Right? So, and he came up with that it might sort of be having something to do, and then you, of course, you can get energy, magnets and whatever, and that sort of things attached. But are we trying to figure out what the mechanism is, why the stars are like turning on overhead or something? Is that it, or what? Because I'm thinking we are making so much fuss about something, right? About people sort of philosophizing over. Is that a word? Philosophizing?
It's fine.
over a word that we haven't really defined yet. Although we all have different views on it, I think. So if we don't need it, why do we divide all the community of flat Earth so much. I hate to see that. I don't want to see us breaking apart. I want to see us unite, because the enemy, that is the devil, is prowling and trying to get some things to disintegrate, right? And that's easy to do by dividing people through these sort of things. I'm thinking, let's, instead of like dividing, get ourselves together and on the basic topic, which is flat Earth, instead of over something that we have not have no that has no like power over the flat Earth, right?
Well, you'll have to ask them.
Yeah, so it's not per se a question towards you, but more like also directed to the audience and other people. In the sense, but the whole sort of over asking is like, why fight?
Go ahead, Adam. You wanted to jump in there. Betty, you weren't asking rhetorical questions, were you?
Semi and semi not, right?
Oh,
so
okay.
of course I can be reproved.
Reproved, the good word. Go ahead, Adam.
No, I bet he ended it nice. I mean, I was going to address. I will address it. If you're looking at the what's an analemma? It's a man-made construct of where the sun dispositions itself. Oh, why is it doing that? What's it also? It's good. Not as either a left or right movement that causes the analemma. It's an up and down movement. And if we just view that from a flat Earth point of view, we've got the changing radial circumferences of the sun every day. We've got a slight speed change every day, so it's not in perfect alignment. I'm happy with that. I don't need another medium to justify it. I accept the limitations of my understanding. I could use the concepts that are here and validable, like magnetism, etc., to postulate something I could never prove. Just to help. I love imagineering as well and building my worldview. There's nothing wrong with that. But purporting that as anything other than me imagineering, purporting that I've got some way of trying to prove it, is, I think, a little bit too far and doesn't do our cause any good. And to just address Betty's point, which is, do I want to fight? No, I don't want to fight. I've not been fighting. And I'm not fighting now. I am trying to just add a little bit of sense and remember why we were all here, what we're here to do, which wasn't to provide another worldview. And as far as I'm aware, we've not disproven or made any massive societal changing effects. There might be lots of people we know now that are flat earthers, but we've not achieved what's important yet. So before we get on to stage 2, let's finish stage 1, because there's a long way to go yet. And division will only slow that.
Yeah, I don't know. The kumbaya thing is fine. However, if they're guilty, no, and I respect what you said.
I'm not saying not call people out, John. I've said my piece in my style, and I don't think it's any less damning a statement, or maybe even more a pertinent and polite request from the other side. And I think that's what Betty brings as well, and that's important. And I don't dispute the directness of you and Nathan, but you've heard how I've put it, and hope maybe that's a little bit more palatable to digest and maybe listen to, and maybe hopefully truthfully respond to.
Okay. Like I said,
I would say it's the emissary.
That's why you are the emissary to the Ethereum embassy. That's correct. We assigned you to that because I guess you're a little calmer. Yes.
And you didn't have your ghost shot to hell. So.
No, but maybe, right? But ultimately, you, me, Nathan, all the guys on Flat Earth Debate, we don't want to fight. We haven't been fighting. I think purposely we've tried not to to antagonize the situation, but you can also not, people are coming in, not deal with what's put in front of you. Okay, and that's what's happening now, and there it is. We heard it tonight, how it was put in front of us. Well, there we go. It does need addressing, and guys, understand why we're addressing it. Not because we want to attack your religious worldview, your philosophical worldview, but to remind us why we're all here, and we've still got a long way to go before we start splitting up like the Protestant church into a million different denominations.
Well,
Let's segregate properly and destroy the Catholics first, eh?
Well, a good revolution is or a revolution
Can I
is a good thing.
read something from Hebrew? I mean,
I was just
this-
talking, but yes, go ahead.
yes, I know, but I need to, because this is like a nice add-on to what Adam says. It says in Hebrews 11 says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the world we were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things that which do appear." Right? So that's beautiful, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, it's Romans 1:20.
No, it's 11.
Yeah.
Hebrews 11.
Oh, is that
1 to 3.
Hebrews?
Yeah, it's Hebrews.
Say that over again.
The whole bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That's verse 1. Right?
Okay, stop there. Yeah. And sorry, that was my mind's on 120 for some reason, but yeah. So faith is the evidence of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, correct?
Yeah, substance of things.
The substance.
Hoped for.
So there is evidence and substance, right?
Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, so it's not there yet, right?
No,
the
it's,
evidence of things not seen.
it has substance and evidence.
It hoped for. So if you hope for something, so suppose that you would hope for a new bow, right? Do you have it?
No, but it's starting to have substance.
Mind's eye that you will get it, right? So that's the thing, the evidence of things not seen. So you know that you want to get a bow, you want to get that, and that's what you hope for. Right? And faith is that, right?
Yep.
And then the part, I find verse 3 even more like explanatory. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of the things which do appear.
That's correct.
Now that's a kicker.
Yeah. Oh, that'll kick you.
Yeah. Well, meditate on that one.
Yeah, I've done that for a long time with those few verses from Hebrews. Yep. Especially because faith.
Sorry. Jeez.
Because I'm trying to speak and I can't do it. I just concisely as I try to be every time. Go ahead.
No, I'm waiting because you wanted to have your 10,000 words out.
I'm not trying to get my 10,000 words out, and I never do.
I'm waiting.
I said I've hovered around those verses for many years, first on my own when I first ran into them, and obviously since faith has comes up in not in every discussion, but you would imagine the word faith being thrown around like a jungle gym, right? Like playtime. So that's all I was trying to say.
In Hebrews, underneath that Hebrews 11, there's a lot of like examples that he gives, right? By faith, Abel offered unto God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, right? By faith, Enoch was translated that he would not see death. By faith, Noah, being warned of God of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark. By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should have after received for an inheritance, obeyed, right? And it goes on and on and on like that, So It is something that's not there yet, but it is about to become true. So maybe these people that are trying to connect immaterial with material are basically, well, searching for the words of God, or prayer, or faith.
Like I said, you're gonna have to ask them. I can't speak for them. I won't speak for them.
Yeah.
But
That's
like
sort of
I
what
said,
think.
They have spoken for themselves, though.
Yeah, but we can't. Everybody is different in this, and since God is a personal God, everybody's on their own path, and everybody has their own understanding for this, right? And we might not have words to explain what the things are that we just don't see yet, right?
I'm pretty sure there was some vitriol when speaking of Christians within this entire. I've heard it twice today.
That's why they might want to make another entity of it, right? They want to have an entity of ether, maybe. Well, so if you make an entity of ether, then you don't need God. So it could also be like an avoidance of God to make something else out of that. You know? So if you can make it out to be a mechanism or a system or a field of possibilities, which is like not in an intelligence formed.
oh, you're not gonna make many friends with that statement. I'll tell you that much.
Well, but it's sort of true, right? I mean, people are rebellious. We always try to figure something out and don't need God. It's in the story of Adam and Eve. We know that, you know.
Yep.
So if you sort of discover how Adam and Eve and that sort of story sort of played out, we all want to be like God or even better than God, and say that we don't need God, and therefore you can easily replace certain things and get God out of the equation. And this is it could be an attempt for some people to do that, or it could be just figuring out what God really is. And then it's a philosophizing argument. How do you say that? It's a philosophy argument.
Be careful there, buddy.
You know, I do like those sort of like, I like those kind of conversations, but I don't like the vitriol. I don't like the whole war.
Well,
Can I say? Because I don't like it, and it divides people more and more, and we don't get together. We need to be getting together on this.
I heard a wise man once say that a revolution is a good thing every now and again.
A revolution around the earth?
A revolution is a good thing.
You need to define revolution.
Yeah, I need to define. Yeah, good. Nice. Touche. I thought I'd get away with that.
Yeah, not with me anymore.
Go ahead, Adam. Go ahead, Adam. You wanted to say something?
Nice Bible quote. That's interesting because how do you make that Bible quote, Betty? And this is the point. Try to make out that you're either an Aetherian or an atomist. I don't think any of myself, the Bible-believing Christian side, the non-Bible-believing Christian side, the non-Christian side of Flat Earth debate people, we all believe in God. We all believe in the supernatural having an effect in this. It's not an either-or situation.
Exactly. You got it.
We are dealing, though, when we're trying to get this message out with physics. And I think if we try to mix our personal metaphysical beliefs into this, it's to the detriment. And that's kind of what I'm speaking against. There's no war from me. Yeah? There's no need for a war. But there is a need to wise up a little bit and realise why we're here. I've said this a number of times. And we don't need to descend it into philosophy. Save the philosophy for philosophy debates. That's absolutely fine. But we're misrepresenting ourselves. And after 5 or 6 years or more, yeah, it's a little disheartening that we are.
Can I rudely interrupt you, Adam? Sort of.
Carry on.
Because I need to go in 20 minutes, 10 minutes at least. Because I sort of asked a question about why do we need ether with the whole flat Earth stuff. Well, we have apparently we've got someone here that believes or in an ether or has faith in an ether. That's kind of cool. Is it possible that we ask him about this question that I have?
Go ahead. You can do it.
I'm unmuted.
so-
Holy moly.
Yeah,
So-
you're muted for cause.
Hey, man, I can control myself, QE. Can you?
Okay.
Well, let's not fight. Like
Yeah,
let's
you know,
not
like
do that.
little backstabbing second grader, right? You were muted
Yeah,
for cause.
So I mean, it's not nice to be muted. So let's let him go.
Yeah,
right?
because it was for cause.
Yes, we know.
Now, do it again, and I'm going to mute your ass and then kick you out.
I don't believe in the ether, nor do I believe in
I don't
bending
care.
space-time.
Answer her
And nor
question.
do I believe in your fucking unseen atomism
Jesus.
bullshit.
Okay, you're done. He's done.
Come on, let me ask him for crying out loud. Why did you interfere?
He's not going to let you ask him, Betty.
I
He's
just
going
want
to
to.
diarrhea the mouth with F-bombs.
He just said that he wasn't an ether believer at all, right? Why don't we first make his statements before we finally get to a muting situation?
What he
How
did
can,
do,
we,
Betty,
how can we ever ascertain people's
Jesus.
ideas or whatever they stand for if we just don't get them?
I heard him.
Why are you shouting at me?
Betty, what I heard there was
I'm asking John why he's shouting at me.
Because I'm getting frustrated, Betty.
Yes, and I'm getting frustrated.
I
by
just
you.
didn't mute him for no cause.
And then you are shouting at me for that.
Yeah, you're telling me, well, you should unmute him. There's no reason to shut him down. We need to hear what he has to say. We already
You
did.
had to have your word in while I was talking to him.
Okay, you can talk to him. Adam, go ahead.
Oh.
Just before I unmute him, go ahead, Adam, real quickly.
I was a little frustrated the second he started talking there because everything I just addressed was just undone by his opening statement. And then ad hominem at the end, or your silly atomism, which I think was the whole point of why he was muted for 20 minutes while we discussed it calmly and tried to put the side. That doesn't sound like a gentleman that wants to talk, discuss it. He just wants to create an issue, create a problem, start another argument. By all means, ask him a question. I'd say I think I'm done with him, and that reintroduction kind of confirms my viewpoint. I think that, and I'm not saying this for everyone, but there do appear to be a number of agent provocateurs out there that are here that have stirred this situation up, and it's never a bad thing to lance a boil, to bring something to a head. But like I said, there are numbers out there whose motivation is questionable.
I only got 6 minutes now.
Oh, okay, Betty, go ahead. Go now. Address Betty. Got it? Go ahead, Betty.
Go ahead, Betty.
Yeah, I'd like to know why you need ether. If you do, because you say you're not an ether believer.
The way I look at it, Betty, is I
See?
look at it as
Won't
a field
even
array.
let you finish, Betty. Won't even let you finish. So you want me to unmute him, Mr. Diary of the Mouth? You now did I just mute him for cause or not?
I was letting it go. because I
You
want to
didn't
know-
finish. You didn't finish your statement.
Yeah, I know. But I can cope with that.
Oh my
And I
God!
can't
Go ahead.
yelling at me.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
Crying out
Betty.
loud.
There you go. Let him go.
Again, Arbeiter. Again, like my question is why you need ether for a flat Earth? What's the attachment?
You don't need an ether. An ether is just a philosophical representation of the unseen and why things work in the unseen, just as atomism or reductionism is a form of that. It's a void, giving it virtual particles, actual mass matter, and energy and magnetism, all that shit. It's a philosophical quantification.
Virtual
of an
particles.
observation. It's not fucking science, number one.
Well, thanks for telling us that. We didn't know.
It's a field array, number two, which means
Field array.
it's a field array, It's exactly what it is, and I gave a definition of it earlier, and I'll give you the definition on your show. A field array is marked.
She didn't ask about field arrays.
Particular features.
She did not ask about field arrays. Listen to her question again, Betty.
There was no attachment between flat Earth and an ether, so that's an answer to the question. Now I'm interested in a field array, which I never will be able to know or ascertain.
Yeah, you will. He's going to tell you about it.
A field array is marked by the presence of particular features such as light, sound, pressure, magnetism in a non-manifested.
Non-manifested light. Is that darkness?
Oh, your fucking atomism is non-manifested bullshit. That's why you have virtual particles.
Take your F-bombs. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's unfortunate that you had to use the F word because we don't like that much, right? But yeah, maybe you can write it down and PM me with that because I want to know what that field array specifically means.
Yep.
I mean, I can understand that we might not have words for everything just yet, right? But I mean, if we didn't have any philosophy, we wouldn't come to science, right? We can ask ourselves questions. But I think that the things with atoms is like it's more like a discovery than it is science, isn't it? I mean, we look through a microscope or we sort of zoom in. And is it so that they zoomed into atoms so much so that they saw basically nothing? Or is it that where string theory starts?
No, it has nothing to do with string theory, no.
I think that some people sort of point out that, some people like to say, well, that's the word spoken by God. String theory.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
Well, I think atomic cloud theory, the cloud model of the electron has to do with them zooming in on it, if that's what you're talking about, because it doesn't seem like the electron holds a position until it's observed to hold that position.
Oh.
And is it so that between the atoms is like a massive amount of space? What is that then? What's the glue that holds the atoms together? I mean, yeah. There's a lot of questions we might not ever know, but I like talking about it. And some apparently do other people too, and we shut them down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we shut them. Oh, yeah.
Need to stay in between the lines, it seems.
Really, we shut them down. So we don't let them speak. We don't let them diarrhea the mouth, right? We don't do that because that's all they do. That's why they get muted for cause.
Well, define the diarrhea, huh?
Yep, just diarrhea of the mouth. Yeah, we never let them speak. We never heard them say what ether was. Never give them a chance. That's right. That's what we do.
In this show, no. Right? Because this is now the first time that I hear something about this guy. Maybe on Nathan's, but I don't know. I don't listen much to what Nathan's because I don't have the time to see all these shows,
Right.
But it was interesting. I'll take my leave and don't know if you guys are going on with other stuff, but I need to go.
We won't be here for that much longer.
All right.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thanks, Jens. Thanks, Arbeiter, that you wanted to at least respond to me. Thanks for that. And,
yeah, he could PM you.
I want to say to everybody in the audience, please don't try to divide. Try to get together on certain things. And if it doesn't involve the whole flat Earth that much, just leave these topics aside, right? Just talk among yourselves who are the ones that are trying to figure this out, but do it amongst yourselves. Is that fair?
Well, as far as perception,
you're gonna have to ask them. That's a noble thought. Ain't gonna happen.
If you don't hope for it, you won't see it. Huh?
Yep.
Well, I was getting ready to address it because if it's a belief you hold and you share it with people that believe the same as you, that's one thing. It's another thing when you come into forums and demand people accept what you claim what is. That you're in a different place at that moment because you're making claims.
I remember flat earthers making claims which they couldn't uphold back in the day, and it took them a while to get their thoughts and things clear, so that they now are at the upper hand.
And
Oh,
They only challenged him.
sometimes you need a little bit of discussion. You can't shut out people's voices all the time.
nobody's shutting out people's voices.
Betty,
Yeah,
if we use that analogy,
and I'm sticking to it. So there you go.
Betty, if we use that analogy going back to the day, yeah, then were we unchallenged stuff, and did we have to cast aside some of the shit, like train tracks and stuff like that? Some of the 101 proofs. Did we have to throw those away through scrutiny, and we kept the ones that we could justify?
Yeah, but we had a whole lot of debates, Adam. We had a whole lot of debates that didn't end well for flat earthers, and they were like ostracized and attacked and called names, for crying out loud. And now we're doing the same thing to other people that are having maybe out of the thoughts ideas, and we shut them down, right? But just before they can make up their minds and stuff. I mean,
Well, what is it? Is it the name calling that's the
believer.
issue, or
So
the
I'm more like
debating
an apologist.
the topic? 'Cause we
I
can't not
need to
debate the topic.
I need to go, so well, I hope that you guys have a good evening or day or whatever. I'll see you guys next time.
Hey, take care.
I have something to say on it. When
Hold on,
there's an
hold on,
opportunity.
because I think Brian's trying to say the same thing as me. Is because of the scrutiny and derision, the argument, or well, it's I guess not even argument anymore. The facts that we put forward are uncontested and must be accepted by the other side before they can even try to argue. So, like, it was good for the topic, the discussion that was being had. So if there's anything there, doesn't that ferret it out? Isn't what we're doing necessary?
Totally necessary to weed out what is not correct. If it's going to be proven as physics, or claimed as physics, or claimed to be science, or whatever, it has to be weeded out and labeled for what it is. It's a belief, or it's not. It's real. You prove whether it's a belief or whether it's real by proving it's real or not being able to prove it's real, right? But the problem, what we have going on here is there's a lot of people out there, and it really stands out now after Arbiter was in, is that there's a lot of people out there who have a problem with the atomic model. And what our ether opposition have done is they've brought out an attack on the atomic model, called us atomists, and now we have people on our case about being atomists who don't even like the ether themselves, who want to attack us as being atomists, something we never claimed to be, and attack the atomic model as if we claimed that was science. And so what that does is it allows the ether people who did push this, like Whitsitt, Bob, these kind of people, to keep going with their ether nonsense. So they've created a diversion. They brought an attack on us that's a complete straw man, and it's a diversion away from what they're doing, which is not proving their claims.
Exactly. You make a claim, you back it. That's not hard. I mean, it can be hard, but that's how it works.
I can prove that the atomic model exists. There is in existence an atomic model. That's what I can prove about that. I can also prove that it's a convention, it's a tool for use within chemistry and other things. That's what it is, and it does what it does. But nobody claimed that nobody's claiming that nobody here, anyways, that I'm aware of, is claiming that that is science and that is real. It's a description. It's a way of describing what people have seen and effects people have seen. It's a description, a way of describing. It's a way of helping. Whether is it perfect? I don't know. Could there be a better one? Maybe. But claiming that we're atomists and then having people who've had a problem, a long-term problem with the atomic model, attacking our group, as being atomists, something we didn't claim to be. You know, that is just allowing a sidebar. That's just allowing a distraction for Whitsitt and Bob and them to keep pushing their nonsense. You know, you have people who don't care about ether, but don't like that atomic model and attacking us for being something we never claimed to be. That's what's going on. It's really low, to be honest with you. It's pathetic, to be quite honest with you. That's how I view it.
All right. Last call.
Just real quick on that. Has anybody even tried to address the photoelectric effect, the uncertainty principle, any of those things that deals with the idea of, you know, light as a particle?
I'm sure probably Whitsitt did. I don't know. I'd shut it down after the fiasco in the beginning. Probably did. You might want to check his channel. That's going to be a belly laugher. Let's get a radiologist on the panel next time for that one. I'd like to see what happens. Radiologist, a spectroscopist. Oh my God. Just a train wreck. Then after you do that, get to Compton scattering. I want to see somebody do that. Take the whole thing down. Make sure you take that to the mainstream scientists along with your gravity. Right after you say there's no gravity, tell them that atoms don't exist. Because you don't want them to laugh at you about the gravity part, right? But the next thing you say, no atoms exist. Or no material exists, maybe? Is that what it is? Because actually you're saying, like I said for the 6th time, this atomist nonsense is just materialism or a materialist. You're calling us materialists and then just juxtaposing it with the ether belief. So it's materialism versus immaterialism, right? But you're all materialists. I can prove it in 3 seconds. So are they mutually exclusive? No, they're not. Like I said, you have a fundamental misunderstanding, probably purposeful. I can't say that. I can't go with intent. So just say ignorance of philosophical naturalism. Look that phrase up. That's what you're trying to say, but you're screwing it up. Educated dimwits. All right. Adam, you want to carry us out of here? I know you got something to say.
I think I echo what Brian said again. I don't like being misrepresented and almost down to the level of some kind of Big Bang evolutionist, if that's the kind of feeling of the materialist that I'm being juxtaposed to ether with. Nobody's saying that. I'm not saying it's all a load of hoo. There's something in all of this stuff, but to be making the claims like we're doing, and for the debate to be brought here like it has been and on other channels voiced, that's what's disappointing. I think I've said that before. And just to reiterate what Betty said about previous arguments, you know, they should be there. And if the ether's something to take forward, then it should hold its own substance. When we start in a place of that we accept we can't experience in any way, it's like I said a long time. I said it on BALLBUSTERS when I went on. The ether is like the equivalent for flat earthers. It's a place to put all our problems. It's like the ballers stick it in dark energy and dark matter. It's a place to put your problems. And as Whitsitt said, you know, at the top level, people realise you don't know anything, and that's a truth, a fundamental truth you should accept and understand your limitations. understand more importantly what our focus is. As Betty said, this fighting's not doing anyone any good. What are we here to do? Are we here to prove ether? Or are we here to show the mainstream normies, yeah, that the Earth's flat? I hope it's the latter.
Is that it, Adam?
I'm done.
All right, thanks, guys, for coming. We're going to close it up now. We are going to have Ballbusters this Saturday. We're going to finally conclude the natural science and the scientific method presentation that has been delayed for some time. Sorry about that, folks, but we're going to get to it on Saturday. All right, fair enough. So have a good one out there. I'm out.